Good afternoon, principals. I wanted to provide a little bit of context to the Backpack Leader interview that you are having linked here in this email, and just to make sure that everyone I can provide as many answers to questions you might have. So this first page is just a simple introductory letter. Doesn't get too detailed. You obviously want to put the person's name you're interviewing here, and then this video is a video that Brooke has compiled based on our conversations on Tuesday that center around just some of the work, some of the questions, some of the themes that we're exploring from our Pride team work that will obviously play a huge role in the Backpack Leader. So that is a link to a video that you might want to highlight as well. The next few pages really talk about some of the things that have driven us as a district over this past year and a little bit about where we are going. These come from either the Community Centered Schools Blueprint or they come from some of the work that we have done in our principal meetings and Pride team meetings over the last several weeks. So really just trying to provide some context to us in Nelson County. And then these pages really speak to some of the work that the Backpack Leader will be doing in each school, thinking about how we are leading professional learning, what a community-centered curriculum looks like, and how we're creating space for that. The design process of that community-centered curriculum, thinking about teacher leadership and how we lead out loud through professional learning experiences over the course of next year. And then we get to the actual interview protocol. So we've created a space here for you to be able to time out the sequence of that interview, just to provide some clarity to yourself. As we get into this component, we're really looking at some performance measures that we want to make sure are part of the interview process. And so we've tried to align these to two, major priorities. The first one, looking at community-centered learning, there's two kind of experiences that we feel like are important based on the conversations and the feedback that you all had given us on Tuesday. The first one is looking at the C3 document, exploring with them what feedback or questions they might have. Obviously, you're going to want to link a template to a C3 document in this space. Looking at what guiding assumptions do you have about collaborating with teachers. It's really important, I think, to establish what their expectations are and what their assumptions are when they go in to collaborate with teachers. And then the last part is being able to actually visit a classroom. So on this, you are most likely going to have to schedule interviews possibly during the day for them to be able to do this process, or there might be another option that I'm not thinking in my head, but we want them to visit a classroom. It doesn't have to be long, 10 minutes or so, 15 minutes, and be able to provide some written notes within the C3 that you've linked. What protocol might you recommend to facilitate collaboration with this teacher? So that's something that they will do as part of this experience. The next thing that they'll do is take a look at Deep Learning page 21. So that is really a box that talks about learning experiences that foster the 6 C's. So I'll make sure to include that in this interview packet. So we want them to take a group of students and lead a 20-minute learning experience that really is based on this concept of learning experiences that foster the 6 C's. So those things are concepts like involving higher order cognitive processes, immersion in addressing areas or issues that are cross-disciplinary, active, authentic, engaging, challenging, student-centered, those sort of things, because we know that these backpack leaders will be leading a class, and part of leading that class is being able to foster the work that we want to see occur. And then this next one gives you all, it gives the person leading this a little bit of choice in what they are doing. So the first one asks them to lead a protocol experience for a PLC, or they could lead a protocol experience with the administrative team. But you will need to go in here and think about what might be a question or an area that they could focus on that maybe your PLCs at school are exploring, or what is a question or focus area that your administrative team is exploring. So you'll just need to provide space for them to be able to lead one of those protocol experiences for you all in the room during the interview. So you can see this is kind of 3 big performance goals that they will be looking at and be answering. And then this last part here is really, we've learned that entry plans are sometimes rather unique because you often don't know what you need to do until you get in to actually doing the work. And so what I did here was, in the Nelson County Schools, we have strong beliefs about expectations for the professionals who serve our students. Based on the job description and school priorities, what do you hope to achieve in the first 20 days that will allow you to do impossible work? So really, instead of looking at 100 days or the first year, it's what are the first few things that you need to do based on the school priorities. So this is where you will need to go in and make sure that you have your school priorities written here. So what do you hope that they will achieve in the first 20 days that will allow them to do impossible work in our school district? So this is a pretty lofty expectation for interview, but I think based on our conversation on Tuesday, this is something that you all value and something that will challenge the people that apply for this job to really sit down and think about what it is that they bring to the table, what value that they bring, and what are we asking them to do. So once again, you'll want to put your school priorities on this page. You'll want to put in some school specific questions that that both PLCs and administrative teams are exploring, so that the person can pick which one that they want to do. And then you need to link your C3 document here. I will put the learning experiences that foster the 6 C's as a slide in this deck, and then you will link the C3, and that will be the interview process. Feel free also to add. You also want to put your interview protocol here and the timing sequence so that you have some context for that. So hope this makes sense. If you got any questions, please let me know. Look forward to seeing some of the conversations that emerge as part of this conversation. Thanks, guys.